I got something new for the boat. So here I'm unboxing it. FedEx told us Tuesday, I believe, and we didn't actually get it until Friday. Some problem with the label being unreadable and having to replace and getting stuck where it was, and then a failure to deliver, which didn't make any sense, but we got it. If you have a catamaran, you might have a pretty good idea what this is. If you do not have a catamaran, you will very soon see what this is. A copy of the engineering drawing and the warranty card. So I'm going to go put that away.
Starboard.
I grabbed the right one the first time. Not only did I grab the right one the first time, the way they folded it, it lays out in the right orientation as soon as I unfold it. So I don't have to spin it or chase it at all. I just had to figure that part out while I was sitting out here. So yes, in case you don't own a catamaran and don't know what I'm doing, these are new nets, new trampolines for the boat. Those yellow ones are very coarse, have very large holes, have knots. They're very uncomfortable. This one's called a 3/8 offshore, has small holes, flat surface. Should be a great improvement to our boat. And when I laid it out, it looks really, really small. And this is when the race started. And our friend Mark up there in that little powerboat has stayed ahead of us the whole time. Now I sped the video up 16 times speed because this took about 2 hours. I'm running Dyneema lacing through the grommets and around the I-beam. So I have to come back, get a couple more feet, feed it all forward to where I'm working, do a handful more grommets, try to get to the corner. Even this work here where I'm kneeling on it and working was way more comfortable than the old nets were. That little catwalk in the middle there is very difficult to get around. You got to reach into a small space and push it through with one hand and then pull it with the other hand. I didn't count how many times I went back to add more line, but every single time I did, I have to feed the line through all of the work I did up and around the corner to the end here to get it where it belongs. This time I ended up with a little bit too much, but it's not a big deal because I can cut it off and use it for other things. So these two sides that I just finished, these are a round beam, and underneath the catwalk is another round beam. So this is a simple straight lacing through the grommet, around the beam, through the grommet, around the beam, all the way around the circle. There are mounts for the catwalk, so I had to get around those correctly. When I started on this side, I have eyelets on about the 9-inch center, but the grommets need more support than that. So they put grommets like every 4 inches or 4.5 inches. So it's what we call a double lace or a split lace. So I go through every eyelet twice. And I go through every grommet once. And there are twice as many grommets as eyelets. So a diagonal from one grommet down to the eyelet and then straight out to the next grommet is in a straight line, and then back to the eyelet a second time, and then an angle to the next grommet, which then angles to the next eyelet, and repeat. And the more and more I laced it and the more tighter I made it, the squarer the pattern got, and I stretched it all out to fill my hole very, very nicely. I believe Sunrise Yacht Products did a great job. There I went down to count eyelets to make sure I was starting in the right place, because I had to back up a little bit and redo part of it. And as I go ahead of myself, I'm taking off the old net now that the new net is in place. So at this point, it's just hanging down in the water below me. You can see how much line I'm working with at a time. If I use more than 6 feet or so, it gets cumbersome. And when you pull the loops through, you get loops overlaying each other, so you get little knots and stuff. So that's why I don't just pull out 50 feet and then try to pull 50 feet through the whole thing. I only do it in 6 to 10 foot increments at a time. Yep, and my phone rang, so yeah. I'll set the phone down and talk to him while I work. He wants my old nets. He's going to cut them up and make lifeline nets for his dog, so his dog can't slip and fall overboard. I'm wearing his t-shirt, but my friend Robert has a 3-legged husky, and he's kind of worried about him slipping under the lifeline, so he'll just cut these into the old yellow ones. He'll cut them into long, narrow strips and attach them to his lifelines. I give him all the old lacing and the old nets, and see how he does with that. So here I'm going through and I'm tightening up the outside. It's easier to adjust it on the round bar than it is on the eyelets that I have. I finished unlacing the old net. That'll get folded up and delivered. And that's how it's done. Now I just have to go through and tension the other two sides.
So how's the old one feel?
It didn't feel really good, but this feels way better.
Go try the old one. How's that feel on your feet?
Bad.
Now try the new one on your feet.
Way better.
Can you lay down on it comfortably?
What?
Can you lay down on it? Is it comfortable?
Yeah.
Would that make a nice bed?
Yes.
That's great.
Okay, well, both sides are done. Stretch them and tension them. And let them get all rinsed off. But these are so much nicer than the other ones. I can even lay here and say, oh my goodness, this is nice. Oh. So you can see through them. They're solid to walk on. They're comfortable. I'm pretty darn happy with the way they turned out. And I'll have a complete video posted soon.